Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to continue on with my Brewdog catch-up that I've been filming for you while I'm at home here in Scotland, and we're actually going to start on a kind of mini-series within that. We're going to go to the IPA is Dead 2015 series. This of course is the 4-pack that Brewdog release every year, the same base beer, single hop IPAs, and they change the hop really just to educate the beer drinker about all these different hop varieties that you can have in the beer. So this year they've done Chinook, Pioneer, Ellon and Mandarina Bavaria, and we're going to start off with one of my favourite hops, which is the Chinook. This one's a big floral, aromatic, quite spicy and pine resinous one with a little bit of tropical fruit as well, so this one should be pretty awesome. And I have to give a thank you to Harry at Blue Nose Beer Reviews for providing me with these beers. Unfortunately I've only got 3 of them though. The Mandarina Bavaria, Harry was telling me, smashed, so unfortunately I can't review that one for you, but you will see reviews for Chinook, the Pioneer and also the Ellon one as well. So hopefully I can get the Mandarina Bavaria one. I'm not sure if I will be able to though, but again, thank you to Harry for providing these beers. But as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other Brewdog reviews. There's about 70 of those now, so if you are particularly interested in Brewdog beer, do check that link out. And there's all the usual social media things, Facebook, Twitter and Untappd, so please follow me on there. Your support would be much appreciated, and if you're particularly interested in Brewdog beer, do subscribe to the channel and you will see more reviews coming up from these guys very soon. So anyway, to tell you about Brewdog, as I always do, as I've told you many a time, Brewdog is the love child of 2 guys, James Watt and Martin Dickey, and they were founded back in 2007 at a small brewery in the Keswick Industrial Estate in Fraserburgh in the very northeast corner of Scotland, right on the tip of the monster's nose if you like, as I always like to say. But more recently they've moved their main brewing operation to their new and purpose-built facility in Ellon, which is closer to the city of Aberdeen where I used to study, and they're also looking to open up a second brewery over in Columbus, Ohio, over in America. But these guys are known for being a very experimental brewery, and they do say that their trademark style are the IPAs, pale ales and double IPAs. Personally, I would argue that they're very good at stouts and imperial stouts as well, and they were known for a period of time for their strong beers as well. There was the Tactical Nuclear Penguin, the Sink the Bismarck and also the End of History. They held that title for 3 separate occasions, but they've largely bowed out of that race now. But overall, this is a brewery that is largely inspired by the American craft brewing renaissance, and if you try the beers like the IPAs and then you try some of the stone beers from California, you can really see that influence coming through, and the guys openly admit that Stone Brewing Company was a huge influence on them when it came to beer. But these days they're also known for having a very thriving chain of brew pubs. These started opening in Aberdeen in 2010. I was there on the first night that the home bar opened. Don't remember much of it right enough, but it was pretty cool nonetheless. But they've spread all over the place now. They've got bars all throughout the UK. There's one in Japan, one in Brazil, Finland, Sweden, Norway as well has one. There's a couple in Italy, France, I think one in Belgium now as well, but they're all over the place. There's really so many opportunities for you to drink Brewdog beer. But what's cool about this brewery is how they've actually funded all of this growth. They've got their Equity for Punk scheme, which is where fans of the brewery like you and I can buy shares, and in exchange for buying the shares you get a sort of lifetime discount at the bars and a lifetime discount in the online shop as well. And they've used the money that they raised from the crowdfunding essentially, to fund all of these new infrastructure developments, new tanks for the brewery, new bars and all of this sort of thing. So they've released a book on that recently, and it's a very interesting business model, so if you're interested in that, go and read the book. But these days Brewdog are the largest independently owned Scottish craft brewery, so a very interesting company, and they do very quirky things like this. They've got quite a few different series. There's their regular range, their core beers, there's the amplified range, which are the higher ABV ones. Personally, I think that's where Brewdog really shine, but they do things like this, the IPA is Dead series. This is their annual release of a 4-pack of single hop IPAs. Each hop usually comes from a different country. Before they were doing it as a different continent, but I think they're starting to just say it different countries now. But the ones that feature in the 2015 edition are Chinook from America, Ellon from Australia, Mandarina Bavaria, which is an experimental German hop, and there's also the Pioneer hop from England. And they've released, I think this is the 4th edition of this series. They've done ones a couple of years before, and you'll see my reviews from 2013 and 2014. There was also a set from 2012 as well, so very cool thing that they do, and it's really cool. It educates the beer drinker about all these different hops that you can get. They also had the Unleash the Yeast one, which was a similar idea. That showed you what all the different yeast strains could do. They have their Paradox series where they age an imperial stout in different whiskey barrels and show you what that effect that can have. And yeah, they do some some very, very cool things. So yeah, basically keep an eye on Brewdog, check out the links in the description below, and you can keep up to date with everything that they're doing. But anyway, that's enough about Brewdog, so let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer. So this one, I'll just let you have a look at the artwork quickly. It's the typical Brewdog artwork. It's one of the new ones. This is actually the first of the IPA's Dead series that have these new labels. 2014 had the old style ones here. It says on the side here, IPA is Dead, Chinook. We felt it was time hops went solo and got their own primetime show. IPA is Dead showcases 4 killer hop varieties to create 4 radically different single hop IPAs. Each IPA contains the same malt backbone and is brewed to be 75 IBUs and is enthusiastically kettle hopped and dry hopped with one of our favourite hops. IPA is Dead strips back the complex layers and exposes the beating heart of an IPA, the hops in all their transparent glory. Can you say you've ever experienced 100% pure hop awesomeness? IPA is Dead is brewed and bottled to do just that. Long live IPA. Tells you a bit on the side about Brewdog as well, and this one is best before the 19th of March 2016. So you can see one of the usual Brewdog bottle caps, and then this is the grey one, and you can see the kind of new artwork that they have here. This one is a kind of dark blue. I think it was blue, green, orange and purple that they released these in this year. So without further ado, let's get this guy open. So 7.2% single hop IPA. The malt base on this one, incidentally, is Maris Otter, Crystal and Caramel. So this one should be really nice. So let's get this out and we'll get on with the tasting here. As you can see, nice smoky opening, which you always expect, and I tell you, you can smell some of these nice Chinook aromas as you open this guy up. The nice floral aromaticity and a little bit of that slightly citrusy but mainly tropical fruit. So it smells really nice. There's a little bit of sediment come out here actually, but it looks very, very good. So let's put this back down. But as you can see, it's poured a typical Brewdog IPA colour. This is a nice bright orangey golden amber. You can see there is a degree of transparency to it. If I put my finger behind the glass there, you can see there is transparency, some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little bits of sediment just at the very bottom, and there's a finger of a frothy white head there. There's some bigger bubbles on that too, but it looks very, very nice. Really attractive beer. So let's have a look at the aroma here. It smells very nice. So the typical notes, you're getting all the typical things you expect of the Chinook hop here. As I told you at the start of the video, Chinook tends to be a hop that's used for its bittering value. A lot of brewers like to use it to give you a nice big floral aromatic and kind of pine resin effect with the IPA beers. Primarily used for that style, of course. One of Brewdog's trademark hops, and a couple of the breweries in Sweden that I like and Denmark, they like to use this one too. Omager, one of my favourites, really love this hop. And that's probably why I enjoy it so much, because I enjoy their beer. But yeah, there's a nice big floral aromatic character to this one. A little bit spicy, in fact. You can get the pine resins too. And you can smell there's a mix of a kind of citrusy, a sort of citrusy, but at the same time, there's a good bit of tropical grapefruit in there. It is a distinctly grapefruit aroma you get from this one, I think. But underneath that, you can get a bready character, that kind of, the Maris Otter sort of slightly doughy bread that you get there, a sort of English white bread, I guess. And there's a bit of sweet caramel too, maybe a little bit biscuity. The hops in this one all smell a little bit dusty actually, which is quite interesting. That's what you usually get from some of these American hops, nice dusty hop aromas. But yeah, the typical Chinook aromas coming out of this one. As I say, one of my favourite hops. I'm so used to it. So let's get stuck into this beer. This one is the Chinook from the IPA's Dead 2015 series from Brewdog in Ellon, Aberdeenshire, Scotland. Slàinte. Yeah, that's really nice. It's a lot, the hoppy character in this one, 75 IBUs, isn't that much. But you get a nice, the whole point is to pick up the flavour of the hops. This is the whole point that they want to do with this. You can taste the dry hopping in this a little bit, and Chinook is a really, really good hop for that. But yeah, the Chinook hop has a very distinct flavour. The floral aromaticity and the kind of underpinning pine resins are the real trademarks of this hop. So around the edge of your palate, that's what you're going to pick up. In the very back corners you can just detect light little bits of pine resin. As you come further forward, to me it gets a little bit more floral and aromatic. You might pick it up slightly differently, but for me, this hop starts off piney at the back and it's a bit more subtle in that regard. Then as you come further forward, there's a nice big spicy floral aromaticity to this one, and as you go around the front curve of the tongue, there's a kind of nice lingering dry bitter character to this beer. Very, very nicely done again. As I say, Brewdog's trademark style, they say it's IPAs. I'm not going to disagree with them there. The IPA is Dead series for me is always one of the highlights of the year from Brewdog. Yeah, interestingly enough, the fruit isn't coming out so much in this one. Usually you have a nice grapefruit character. It's very subtle there. If you just go behind that front curve of the tongue, you'll feel that little oily bubble where these fruity esters always come out, and there is just a lingering bit of grapefruit, maybe just a tiny bit of citrus, but mainly a kind of nice dark, slightly sour tropical grapefruit. But it's more of a subtle note in comparison to these floral aromatic spicy flavours and the pine resins. That's just, the fruity character really is taking a back seat in this beer. But yeah, I really just enjoy this beer. It's such a good hop, this. In terms of the malt base of this one, you've got the typical elements you expect from the IPA's Dead series. There's a nice bready character that just very light actually, that just blankets the middle of the tongue. There's a bit more body to it as you move into the aftertaste. It starts to progress a little bit and you just feel the doughy character building there. The beer gets a bit more body as it kind of matures on the tongue, if you like, but there's some sweet caramel in there as you go right down the middle of the tongue, and you can feel a little bit of a cereally character, almost like a biscuity malt coming out of this beer as well. But yeah, very, very nicely done. Chinook, as I say, one of my favourite hops, so I knew from the word go I would enjoy this one. These beers are really a bit of a novelty, and I always enjoy when these come out, but this is a really nice hop. As I said, not the fruitiest of hop. You'll enjoy this one particularly if you like the big floral, aromatic and pine resiny IPAs. This is the property that this hop holds. So in terms of the mouthfeel, this one I would say light to mid-bodied. It's quite an easy-going, quite sessionable beer, this. The Chinook, I think, is usually used in bigger amounts and you get a lot more bitterness from it, but they're just doing this a little bit. They're toning it down a little bit from what they would normally do, I think, just to let you get a hold of the flavours. So it's a little bit lighter. There's a bit of an oily mouthfeel to this one. A bit of sweet malt, I would say, but the malts for me in this year's edition are a little bit more bready. I think last year they had the alcohol content down at 6.7. The year before that it was 7.2. But I remember 2013 having a bit more caramel sweetness to them than this one. So they might have changed the ratios a little bit. Not too sure about that. But yeah, it's very, very nice nonetheless. As I say, from this one you've got a nice lingering bitter hoppy dryness, and it's the floral aromaticity. It actually smooths out as you move into the aftertaste. So the pine resins just sit there at the back of the palate, and in the aftertaste the floral aromaticity has this really smooth and just lingering dry character. Very, very nice. You don't get too much from the malt base in the aftertaste, just a very light kind of coating on the middle of the tongue of the bread in there. But overall, again, this is a really nice series. I always enjoy the IPA's Dead 2015 from Brewdog. As I say, these beers are a bit of a novelty. They're nowhere near as good as Brewdog can brew, if that makes sense. They're a bit of a novelty to teach you about the different hops. They're very enjoyable, but if you really want to see what Brewdog's all about, you've got to try something like Jackhammer. That is probably their signature IPA, or one of the double IPAs. Hardcore or Jackhammer is where Brewdog really show what they can do with the IPA. This is a novelty one, but it's very good to try for the educational purpose of knowing the hops. So yeah, another really, really good beer from Brewdog. As I say, I always enjoy this series. You should get into this one if you haven't before. The IPA's Dead series is really good for learning about all the different hops and their properties. So yeah, if you get the chance, try the IPA's Dead series. 2016 will be coming out sometime soon. I'm not sure what hops they'll use for that, but I've still got 2 more reviews I can do from this series, so I hope you've enjoyed this one. Hopefully you'll want to tune in for the next one as well, but as always, please let me know in the comment section below your own thoughts on this beer. Always interesting to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and until the next one, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out the social media things, and I hope to hear from you guys in the comment section, and I'll catch you soon with the next video. The Pioneer and the Ellon ones are coming up fairly soon. It's landed just now, and I'll catch you soon.